weapons. And making the weapons is very often just, this is what you can make. This, or this. Have fun. It's not true creation. It's more following a recipe and really boring, and no one really cares to do it because anyone can do it. There's no sense of individuality, true player creation, in making those weapons. So, oddly enough, not a whole lot of people do it. Wonder why. Classes. There's actually some games that allow you to make classes. Full classes. Not, it's set out for you, this is what this class does, blah, 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 but you get to choose. You get to define the class yourself, sort of make it that way. Usually based on a strategy you already have or whatever. But that shows true creation because they're not giving you the class, you're making it up. Sort of like a very vague term like Call of Duty gives you classes. It's just setups that you can put in and use. It's really kind of up to you. Maps. Some games allow you to make maps, but that was always true player creation so many times. That was a lot of fun, having people be able to make their own maps. They're usually better than what was actually made. At least the good map makers. And fish is another example. I played a game where you could actually modify your fish, how resistant it was, its different defenses, whether it shot out ink or it was poisonous or it was like a popper fish that had little points in it, so it was hard to swallow. It was oddly really fun for a little fish game that they made kids play. But all this creation should make a difference. That's what makes it thought-provoking. It's like, well, if I make a weapon that is this long or this sharp or this light or has this magical ability, then I can put it together with my other classes or other setups and it'll work really well. And a lot of time it just doesn't matter or makes it worse for you. Last one, this is a kind of one that showed up a lot in the games I like. There's many diverse ways of playing. That allows more strategy and of course more thought. If you're able to do 100 different types of attacks on a person, the strategy goes up immensely. It's sort of the difference between Warcraft 3 and StarCraft. StarCraft usually was build up and attack, and it didn't really matter a whole lot what you built up and attacked with. But Warcraft 3, it mattered a lot, and you couldn't just use one unit. Those who used a variety of units, particularly units that worked well together, usually played well. And along with the heroes that mattered because that affected your units in a certain way, it just added all this extra strategy to the game, which caused thought-provocation. And yes, it made it more difficult to play, but ultimately it made it a lot more fun to play. And people are still playing that. Of course, people are still playing StarCraft now, but that's besides the point. Some like mindless games, others like thought-provocation. Okay, number 4. Always an unknown. No automatic I got yous. Sort of like, oh, this guy is a paladin. I know exactly what spells he can do, what attacks he can do, and exactly how to beat him. Period. If he doesn't have this setup, that means he's not even a good paladin, which makes it even easier to beat him. I like those. Or another game like chess. Oh, this guy's using this chess open. Well, I know I can beat him in these 3 different ways. Period. And that's the only way to do it. And I have to do it or he's going to win. I mean, a lot of times in a lot of games, the unknown disappears and you just know everything about everybody, you know? You know exactly what they can do or what they have or what they can have. And you're always automatically prepared. There's no sense of surprise, which some people like, but I'm saying it usually blows. A sense of mystery, which allows for adventure. A lot of adventure games don't have senses of mystery. maybe the first time you play through it, you get to see the story or whatever, but after that game's over and you never play it again. Sure, this is a known all the way through the game, but for games that you play over and over again, the mystery tends to just disappear. Without the mystery, there's no adventure. There's no, hey, let's go over there and see what that does. Hey, let's try this combination of moves or attacks or whatever and see how that works, because, you don't do that because you know exactly what's going to happen. Somebody's already done it. There's nothing new about the game, so it's not like it hasn't been tested before. And eventually, usually very quickly, the mystery's gone, the adventure's gone, and that makes it a lot harder for the game to be fun. Sense of uniqueness. Now, a lot of times in a lot of games, they don't add anything new, or they add very little things new. And everybody knows the best things to have or the best strategies to use. And as a result, everybody tends to use those very things, and everybody starts to look a lot the same. If you have this class, you look like this. Or you have these weapons. Imagine if Magic the Gathering never had new cards. They just used the same cards from the beginning. All the best decks would be thought of. The best dozen decks that you could possibly use, because no one ever made new cards for it. And everybody would have or be using one of those decks or something very similar to it. And it would tend to be very boring. Nobody would ever come at you with something you hadn't seen before. And, well, that is an advantage to you, but it's also can be incredibly boring. You'll never go, hey, what's that? Or, oh, I never expected that. And if you don't have that sense of uniqueness about it, then, well, it gets boring. And that's why I put ever-changing and very diverse. The more you have that, the more fun the games get. That's why I think board games suck. Or at least all the ones I played. I played a lot. Because board games have a set box with everything in it, and as a result, the game starts to get very... You know exactly what you need to do to win every time. It's not guaranteed to you every time. There's like die rolls and crap like that to put in randomness, but you know all the best strategies. You know what everybody's going to need to do to win, whether it's Monopoly or Dominion or Stego or chess. That's why I put not chess, specifically chess, because chess, there are only so many opens and so many counters.